Alright, Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and a few sisters out there. Onto the Israelite foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. I'm specifically going to do a show on some of the things that people take for granted. Well, one of the main things that people take for granted. So, something that came into mind a couple days ago, and then I seen a picture through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that was posted on the chat. May Lord when I put it up in the with the show of a so-called black man that was in Russia prior to the Bolshevik rebellion. I believe so it's called again. Before the Marxists took over Russia to make it a communist state. And he wasn't a slave, I'll say that much. But the reason why I was thinking about it is because it was actually started because last week? Maybe last week or so, when people was trying to break that. Yes, it was. Jason Whitlock had a so-called pastor, or two pastors, was breaking down the Abraham covenant. There was breaking out three covenants. I believe the first one was the Abraham covenant. The second one was something else, and the covenant with the Most High and Israel, and what a Christian church fits in all this. And the guy was breaking it, not breaking it. He was telling the history. All right, matter of fact, let me just go to that real quick. Genesis 12 and 1. I'm starting 1. Now the Lord said unto Abram, get thee out of thy country and from thy kin and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And Abraham obviously came from a good family, so to speak. Come from a good line. That was home. Because at the time, when you read Genesis 11 chapter, it showed you that the nations were divided, but this particular bloodline came from what the land we call Shinar, where his father dwelt at. Let me make sure. Genesis 11 and all right, and this is the bloodline of Shem. All right, it says, and Terah lived 70 years, and he begotten Abram, Noah, Nohar, and Haran. So these are Terah or Tehran, sons. Abraham was one of them. Okay, let me see if I jot down. Oh, Salakia. See, this is why you gotta go before you open your mouth. And it says, verse 28, it tells you exactly. Salakia. It says, and Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur of the Chaldees. Okay, this is what the cradle of civilization, that good stuff. So, and Abraham and Noah took them wives. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarah, and the name of Noah's wife, Malakah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Malakah, the father of Azekah, but Sarah was barren and had no children. And Terah took Abraham his son, and Lot the son of Haran, and his son's son, and Sarah his daughter-in-law, and his son Abraham's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. The days of Terah was 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. All right, so Abram came from a rich source of family, which he's going to tell you. He says, and I will make of thee a great nation. So what was the promise to Abraham? That Abram, that the Lord was going to make him a great nation. Keyword nation, not nations, but keyword nation. And I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be blessed, be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee. And in thee all families of the earth be blessed. So, because of Abraham's seed, I say it like that. Because of Abraham's seed, all right, not seeds, but seed, the earth would be blessed. And this is where everything gets good or bad. Because scripture, read it again. It says, verse 3, and I will bless them that bless thee. So whoever bless Abraham or his descendants from that particular line is blessed, and curses him that curseth thee. So whoever curses that particular line, all right, will be cursed. And in thee all the families of the earth be blessed. So what goes on here? A lot of people, mainly Christian church, would read this and assume that all are from the seed of Abraham. That's not true. All right. Abraham had a particular line that was going to be blessed. Let's go to the point. 17. It says Genesis 17, and I'm going to hit to the point. All right, you know what? Let's start on 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, so he was 99, the Lord appeared to him and said unto him, I am the Almighty Yahweh, or Elohim, or in this case, when you read that Almighty, it says Al Shaddai. All right, walk before me and be thou perfect, and I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abram fell on his face, and the Most High talked with him, saying, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. So this is where they get it correct. So Abraham was a father of many nations. All right. It says, neither shall thy name anymore be called Abram, but Abraham. But thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. So Abram is now, the name was changed to Abraham because he's the father of many nations. So these are the parts that's correct. All right. It says, and I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. So this is the key. All right. This is the key right here. So Abraham's particular line, the blessed line, where the great kings will come from. Mainly the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. Okay? But now let's break down the seed of Abraham. Abraham had Ishmael, and he had Isaac. All right? So he had Ishmael and he had Isaac. The promise didn't go unto Ishmael, even though Ishmael was his firstborn. The promise went down to Isaac. Now let's break down Isaac now. Matter of fact, let's get to the Apocrypha. This is something, just a few random thoughts. Let's start at 1. Second Ezra 6:1. And he said unto me, in the beginning, when the earth was made, before the borders of the world stood, or even the winds blew, before it thundered and lightning, or even the foundation of paradise was laid, before the fair flowers were seen, or ever the movable powers were established, before the innumerable multitude of angels were gathered together, or even the heights of the air were lifted up, before the measures of the firmament were named, or even the chimneys in Zion were hot, and the present years were sought out, or ever the inventions of them that now sin were turned, before they were sealed, that have gathered faith for a treasure. Then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, though none other by me also they shall be ended by none other. So let me get this real quick. Isaiah 46:10. It says, declaring the end from the beginning, and from the ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. So Lord already had it established how it was going to end, how it was going to start. That's why he gave Ezra a quick breakdown of everything. All right, this is what was in the thought of the Lord. So verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting sunder of the times? So it wasn't just Ezra came up with a brilliant idea to ask this question. The Lord already laid a foundation, as he always laid a foundation in the minds of men. All right. So Ezra was curious. So what's going to be the end of it? It says, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac. So there's no Ishmael. Unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. So it came down to the two main characters, the two major characters as written in the scriptures, which the churches won't even touch on that. Okay? So you have to know who is these two main characters, that so much importance that even the Lord narrowed down from his friend, the scripture says, Abraham. He narrowed down to Abraham out of all men on earth, that he narrowed down to Abraham's bloodline. And why is it within Abraham's bloodline the beginning and the end? Because that's what he was mainly focused on. It says when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first of the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob's is the beginning of it that followeth. So Esau, out of the seed of Abraham, will come the ending of the current world, and Jacob, the seed of Abraham, will become the beginning of the kingdom of heaven. No other people. So the two main characters are Jacob and Esau, they both from the descendants of Abraham, and both have many nations. Okay, let me get this real quick. Galatians 3:28. It says, "There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female. For ye are all one in Mahashiach Yahushai. And if you be Yahushai's, then you are Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. All right. So the promise was given unto Abraham. So was everybody a part of that promise? It just gave you a particular thing. Ishmael, his descendants are the Arabians. All right. Are they blessed? Yes, they're blessed in accordance to the degree, but not the blessed. Then you have Jacob and Esau, which we all know, the two main characters that's being portrayed right now, the true forces of good versus evil. All right, and that's the mystery that is unfolding right now. Okay, that's why you have what Kyrie, what's this guy's name? Nick Cannon, Yee will say there can't be anti-Semitic because they are Shemitic. All right, because Abraham was a descendant of Shem. So everything is narrowing it down. Galatians 4:25. No, 24. Nope. 22. It says, for it is written that Abraham had two sons, the one by a bondmaid and another by a free woman. But he who was of the bondwoman, that would be Ishmael, was born after the flesh. But he of the free woman was by promise, as Isaac, which things are an allegory for these two. For these are the two covenants. The one from Mount Seir, who was given the covenant and from Mount Seir? Israel. Leviticus 27 and 46. Psalms 147 and 19. Psalms 120, was it? Yeah, 147, 19. Psalms 148 as well. All right. Israel was given that covenant. It says, which gendereth to the bondage, which is Hagar. For this, which is supposed to be a Hagar, but Hagar is Mount Seir in Arabia, and answereth to Jerusalem, which now is in bondage with her children. So the allegory was what? That that covenant that Abraham had, he dealt with Hagar, that represented the flesh. So the stone, the laws that was given unto us represents the outer, the flesh, the stony heart. Okay? But the other covenant is of the spirit, which is what? The second covenant. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. So yes, we all, not all. You have Moab, that's Shemites. You have Ammon, that's Shemites. You have the Syrians are Shemites. Okay? So you have different forms of Shemites, but the Lord was only dealing with Abraham. And Abraham descendants from Isaac, and then went down to Jacob. It says, for it is written, rejoice thou barren that bearest not, break forth and cry, thou that travail not. For the desolation have many more children than she which have a husband. Now we, brethren, as Isaac was all the children of promise. Israel. But as then as as then that he was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the spirit, even so it is now. Nevertheless, saith the scripture, cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with the son of the free woman. So then, brethren, we are not children of the bondwoman, but of the free, proving that Israel, that particular line of Israelites, was what? Was a sovereign nation, a free people. Okay? We was born to be free. But during the process of time, we kept breaking the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And the Most High put us into bondage. Okay? That's historic facts. So who are they to sit there and say that we're not those people? They don't fit the descriptions that was written. Alright? And yes, once again, we are all from the seed of Abraham. We are from the seed of Abraham, but it's all about the bloodline. Okay? Matter of fact, Romans, was it 9? No, I'm sorry. Romans. Romans 11:1. It says, and I say then, have the Most High cast away his people? God forbid. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. So there you go. All right? It's about a seed, a lineage. It says, Yahweh have not cast away his people, which he foreknew. Won't ye not what the scriptures have said of Elias, how he made an intercession to the Most High against Israel, saying? So the Most High did not get rid of his people. He wouldn't, because the promise that he made from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And because of this promise that was living on, many nations, Russia, especially America, was blessed because of that. When you look in the history of all the golden eras, that's what I should have done. Matter of fact, let's look it up. Because I did this before. What was that? Oh, okay. Let's look at her up. See the golden age. I just go to China, right? Or the golden century? No, golden days. If I'm not mistaken, the Tao Dynasty, right? Tang Dynasty. I did this before. I can't remember how I worded it. All right, let's see. Wow, when you want to do something, it's not there. It's amazing. All right. It says the Tang Dynasty, but it's something else I'm missing. All right. All right, so we got the Tang Dynasty, right? That's Tang Dynasty. Tang Dynasty, Golden Age. All right, let me see now. in China. Let's see if I can find what I was looking for. I said I did it before. And it was before 1619, might I add. So, bing bong. All right. I just did a little research. Like the Wadi Bashim Yashai, the Wadi Bashim Yashai, the Wadi Bashim Yashai. Said African slaves in China. The first Africans arrived in China as a gift from King of Qingjun and Jovine Tang Emperor in 813 AD. We just kind of skimmed through. I didn't really dove into it, but I just typed in Golden Age of China. Right? They said the Tang Dynasty. It says these young boys and girls were treated exotic ornaments no different from the rhinoceros and other animals that were presented alongside. The Chinese called the Zingazi, or reference to Zegambar, which is at the time described the whole length of the Eastern African coast region, including Madagascar. Nothing is known about the fate of these children's slaves who disappeared from history recording, which there's more to it. All right, so I just gave you a little bit, but there's more. There's a lot more. I just want to make this kind of quick though. All right, so we know the Chinese had a role in slavery. We know that of course this side, we all know the Arabians had a major part into slavery. All right, let's see. The forgotten history of African slaves in China. So that's one. So we got it. The Tang Dynasty, the Golden Age. They called it the Golden Age. The Golden Age of China was when they had slavery. All right, they had slaves. They had what they considered Israelites. I mean, no, Slovakia. What they considered slaves, Africans, which were Israelites. You see if I can find. Now I did Africans, slaves in Japan. Watching in the mid-16th century, Africans arrived in Japan alongside Europeans as a crew members and slaves. This is what I forgot this guy's name. Let me just copy. I'm not good with names. Forgive me. They made an anime out of him. I think. Nation. Come
on. We are looking at how to pronounce the name of this character from the Danganronpa anime and manga series. He is a student in Hope Speak Academy's class 77A. How do you say it? Yasuke. Yasuke.
You made it long for no fucking reason. So Yasuke, right? Let's go back to this. This is okay, Yasuke, an African man, possibly from the Mozambique, arrived in Japan in 1600. That's not the one I was looking for. I should type in the same thing. Okay, African slavery. Japan's. We'll just do it like this. Japan's Golden Age. Like I did last time, right? Japan's Golden Age. Alright. around the same time frame. All right, the same time frame. Started from 794 to 1185. I'm not making this thing up. So, since when was the golden age of Japan? Okay, boom, boom, right? Okay. Slavery in Japan. So I'll type that in. Damn it. This one I gotta kind of. It's supposed to be around the same time frame. This is the same thing as Japan. I mean, as China, India. Same damn thing. Should be the same around the same time. These are all golden ages. So slavery in India continued through when Acts 1 and continued. Let me see. The Indian Ocean slave trade. Alright, I just need a time. That's all I need. It says, okay, the Portuguese imported Africans into Indian colonies of the Konkan coast between 1530 and 1740. That's another. So there you go. There's another one right there, right? I'm just looking at the time frame. So this is what they say it started. So Far East, China was 813. Japan, it says what their golden age was 794 to 1185. See, now let's type in the golden age and all right, the period of between. I mean, that's what that says. Okay, let's say if it's correct. It doesn't change the fact that they had it. All right, if this is the correct, because I know I did this before. My notes are scrambled. And what I mean by golden age is when they really peaked, when it became empires. But India has a rich history as prior to anyway. The Guadalupe Empire, the all right, let me see. We type in slavery. Let's see. There's a reason why. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. I just need dates. That's all I need. We know that. What's his face? What's these people's name again? So you have prior to, and you have. Oh, that's what I forgot to do. All right, so the same thing. It says early history of slavery in India. Subcontinent is a contest because it depends on the translation of the terms, which, such as Doas and Dosi Greek writing, Menegaston's in his work in India, whatever, while describing the Maurya Empire, states that slavery was banned in Indian society. Alright, and slavery in India escalated during the Muslims' dominance of northern India after 1100 century. After Muslims rules reintroduced slavery to India subcontinent, it became a predominant social institution with enslavement of the Hindus, while with the use of slaves and armies for conquest, a long-standing practice from Muslim kingdom at the time, according to the Muslims historian of the Dala Sultanate and the Mughal Empire era, after the invasion of the Hindu kingdoms, after other Indians were taken as slaves, with many exploited to Central Asia and West Asia. Many slaves from the Horn of Africa were also imported into Indian subcontinent to serve in the households of powerful or the Muslim armies of the Deccan sultans and the Mughal Empire. So it gives you a rough date. So it's two different things, because that's Elam. But let's go to this real quick. But I mean, it might not give what I want, but hey, shoot the shot. Russian. Let me see. Notes. I mean, Russia was involved. I forgot there was a book on it. They had to apologize for it. But you had Russians, like the picture showed, there was Russians that were actually Jake, which that's why you get the Russian icon. The Russian icon, because Jake were mostly Christians in that land. And all they pictures, which I still have that. Let me see if I can find that. But there's a certain site a brother put up and got a whole bunch of pictures of Yahushai, the prophets, all dark-skinned men. Why would they put that there for? But here's one. It says, did Russia participate in the slave trade like America did in the past? Oh, that's just a Q&A question. That's a question. That's a lie right there, but let me see. All right, it's not easy like it was before in the past. You could usually find certain things like that easily. But I think the point is made. So the majority of these great empires prior to was because of them taking the Lord's people. Matter of fact, let's get to that. Revelations 11. To the point. 11 and 9 says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in the grave. These nations, all these nations, because remember there's 18 nations, all these nations had Israel in slavery. Alright? This is why there was a transatlantic slave trade, but it was a worldwide event of sending so-called African slaves to different parts of around the world. I couldn't find it, Slaki, for that. I couldn't find the East Indian. What time frame to say? The time frame was kind of a little bit off. Well, actually, I think it did say 1530. But China's golden age. That's why I kind of got that mixed up and everything like that. Because the slave trade did start on that side of the world. It started early than from the West. But Japan had Japan had a very profound hand into it, which is Ammon. Then you have Moab, which is the Chinese. Elam, they also had. This told you it's 1530 to 17 change. And then, of course, you got Ishmael, who pretty much started it all. All right, under the guise of what's this guy, the Prophet Muhammad. All right, they put a lot of people into slavery, which it goes back until time of Joseph. When you read in Genesis how they picked up and they sold them to the Egyptians. So all these nations had the Lord's people. And what happened when they had the Lord's people? Other than slavery, those places prosper. Okay? All these other places prosper tremendously. That's why you had certain golden ages. You had certain economies that blew up, that really got strong, because of the simple fact is you have 100% free labor. So they didn't allow Israel to know who they were as a people. That would not serve them. That's why you gotta go real quick. Psalms 83. And let me go to the points. Well, actually, let me just. Psalms 83:1. It says, the song or psalm of Asaph. Keep not thy silent, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace. Be not still, O Yahweh, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent, and they are confederate against thee. So they all came together against this particular bloodline. Once again, how is it the whole world can say that Abraham's their father? This is what they chose to do to Abraham's chosen line. Okay? And it gives you the characters, the players. It says the tabernacle of Edom. All right? So-called white man. And the Ishmaelites, the Arabians. All right? Under the guise of Muslims. That's called themselves Muslims, right? Of Moab, of the Hagarenes, Gilba, Ammon, which are the Japanese, and Amalek, because all these companies were slave companies was run by Amalek. Okay, the so-called Jews today, they are the ones that funded the majority of this thing that was going on. The hot commodity was Israelites. All right, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Silah. So they all these nations joined against us. All right. Jeremiah, real quick. Seeming like I'm all over the place, but I'm coming to my conclusion. 50 and 33 to the point. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. That's where here in the land of America. Okay. This is what all the tribes. This is the centerpiece of it all. Of all the massive exposure or scattering of the Lord's people. This is the focal point. This is the headquarters of them all. And I'm going to prove it. It says, all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So, like I stated before in the previous show, we're caught in your hand. You caught red-handed with the Lord's chosen people. All right? And all people that the Lord chose, who he did he choose? Israel. Matter of fact, Deuteronomy 32. I'm sorry, let me get 7. Deuteronomy 7 and 6. It says, "But thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power. The Lord thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor chose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people." All right. And it says, "But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto our fathers, have the Lord brought you out of them with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh the king of Egypt." So because of this oath, that oath is what? That he made with Abraham. "Now therefore that the Lord thy power he is Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, the faithful Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations." So the Lord chose Israel to be that special people out of Abraham's descendants. And what did these nations do? They plotted. They scattered the Lord's people. So you think the receipts is not going to come back to you? You are all caught red-handed. All involved. If I can't find it in Google, hey, the scriptures already tell you all the people that was involved in the scattering of the Lord's people, who mistreated the Lord's people. So remember the curses, right? All right. Baruch 4:20. Baruch 4:20. That's what 19. "Go your way, O my children, go your way, for I am left desolate. I have put off the clothing of peace, and put upon me the clothing of the sackcloth. Put upon me the sackcloth of my prayer. I will cry unto the everlasting in my days. Be of good cheer, O my children. Cry unto the Lord, and he will deliver you from the power and the hand of the enemies." Because what? All these are people are enemies. "For my hope is in the everlasting, that he would save you, and joy is come unto me from the Holy One, because of the mercy which shall soon come unto you from the everlasting, our Savior. For I sent you out with mourning and weeping, but Yahweh will give you to me again with joy and gladness forever." She's talking about the children of Israel coming back to the land. Like as now the neighbors of Zion have seen your captivity, so shall they see shortly your salvation from our power, which shall come upon you with great glory and the brightness of the everlasting. My children, suffer patiently the wrath that is come upon you from the Most High. For thine enemy has persecuted thee, but shortly thou shalt see his destruction and trod upon his neck. So this is the receipt for all the things that has been done unto the Lord's chosen. All right. My delicate ones have gone rough ways and were taken away as flocks caught of the enemies. But be of good cheer, be of good comfort, O my children. Cry unto Yahweh, for ye shall be remembered of him that brought these things upon you. For as it was in your mind to go astray from the Most High, so being returned, seek him 10 times more. And that's why when you come into this thing, you go hard. All right. We got back that which was stolen from us, which is what our inheritance, our identity. You don't see people the same no more. You don't see the other nations as somebody that cares about you, that might give you a break. You see for who they really are, okay? And that doesn't makes you a terrible person the way the world is depicting it. You got to be crazy. You stole everything from us. You allowed us not to know who we are. Treated us like shit. We was a gift that was given to each last one of you, but yet you seemingly act like there's nothing that's gonna happen to you. But here's a scripture that says it all. For he that brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave you that name will comfort you. Miserable are they which afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. So all these nations that received Israelites as gifts, all right, that treated the Lord's chosen as nothing. Not only are they miserable, they are cursed. Okay? The scriptures say, cursed be them that curse thee. And we seen it. Now, it may be under the guise of how Esau's and the other nations come together to bring their new world order. But these other nations and the things that's going on over there in their lands is horrible. All right? But at one time, they all was at a great peak. Because what did they do? What all had in common? Taking us down. All right? For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. But the main headquarters of it all is Babylon the Great. The main course. And a lot of these scholars, these rats, these so-called Jews, small hatters, 1948ers are coming out stating that, yeah, you have Israelites that were dark-skinned. Because the simple fact that the gig is up. All right? And now you see, you want to know why these places are crumbling the way they're crumbling. Because what they did unto the Lord's chosen. All right? It says, for I will take away the rejoicing of a great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure. She shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. And this is talking about America. Because the bulk of you could say the royal house of Israel is in America, where the prophets, all right, because this is where the main destruction is going to take place. It says, O Jerusalem, look about towards the east. Behold the joy that cometh unto thee from the Most High. Lo, thy sons come whom thou sentest away. They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of Yahweh. So that being said, I'll be brothers edify. Shalom to the elect and the nations. Shalom.